the Bitcoin ETF. Buy the rumor, sell the news, or buy the rumor and hold on to Bitcoin for long-term wealth preservation. Or sell the news, up to you. It's up to you, of course. But there has been a lot of chatter around a Bitcoin ETF approval. We're seeing markets pick up. We have some big Bitcoin ETF updates for you today as well. Also, Bitcoin mining news with the USA taking the lead in the Bitcoin mining hash power race. My name's Lark. Every day I make videos talking about cryptocurrency investing. So if that's a topic you would like to learn some more about, maybe just stay up to date with, then you should definitely subscribe to the Lark Davis channel. Also, if you take a quick second to tap on that thumbs up button, that'd be super, super awesome. And obviously, if you do want to know when I put out a new video, you should definitely click on that notification bell. By the way, if you want a place to buy the rumor, buy Bitcoin, buy Ethereum, buy Polkadot, whatever your heart may desire, you need yourself an account over on Binance. It is the best cryptocurrency exchange out there. You can buy crypto using about 50 different fiat currencies. Use the link down below in the description to start your account, and you'll get 10% off of your fees and up to $700 in trading bonuses when trading futures over on Binance. Now let's talk about the technicals real quick. Not too much to say today. We'll keep it short, but looks like Bitcoin is potentially making a breakout here, an attempt possibly to go up to $60,000. Now we are 20 hours away from closing this daily candle, so a lot can transpire in that time. Obviously, $58,000, this line right here, as you can see, has been some sticky resistance. And look what's happened over the last 2 days. We've had big sell-offs both days as Bitcoin tried conquering this resistance, boom, sell-off. Trying to conquer resistance, boom, sell-off. Each time we get those sell-off situations happening, massive buy pressure stepping in. A lot of people are interested in buying Bitcoin because they think it's going to go up. They are expecting a Bitcoin ETF approval and for the market to potentially move pretty fast. So every time we do see these dips, and these are small dips, but they're getting bought up pretty damn quickly. Currently, Bitcoin is attempting to paint a daily candle above this area of resistance. If we do get this right here, then $60,000 is only a short hop, skip, and jump away. Now, once we crack over $60,000, I think that is a big, big moment for Bitcoin. I think we're going to see a lot of commitment from the market. We're going to see a lot of people jumping in and longing Bitcoin at that point. We're going to see a lot of spot buying at that point because once we hit $60,000, we're just getting a new all-time high. It's going to come like that. It's going to come like that. It can be so, so quick. We're so close right now. I mean, just for perspective here, let's go out to the weekly just to make this a bit more apparent. Look at how close we are right now to getting a new all-time high for Bitcoin. We're literally just a few $1,000s away. The all-time high here, of course, $65,000. Just put that on there. 10%. 10%. We're 10% down. Bitcoin can do that in a single freaking candle. You realize that, right? A single daily candle can knock out a 10% move for Bitcoin. And when we get that Bitcoin ETF approved, whether it's in 4 or 5 days, right? That's when the first Bitcoin futures ETF approval is coming up, or not. Maybe we see it happen later in the year. Whenever that comes, things are going to move really, really fast. So very interesting. It's no wonder we see, of course, people buying up these daily dips that we're getting. Also, you can see here on-chain activity for Bitcoin. I think it's a very important one to share with you here because what have we seen? We've seen this massive sell-off, of course, back here. The low point in July at $29,000. You guys remember buying Bitcoin back then? Those are good times. Those were good times. I miss those times. Very reminiscent of the March sell-off of 2020. We had this big drop in the market, and we see on-chain activity. That's active addresses, that's active entities, that's transaction counts. Look at this. We're right back level-wise, so you can follow it right across here. Level-wise, we're back to like May 2020. After a major correction, we're starting to build up again. Now, what happened in May 2020? Of course, that was around the Bitcoin halving happened right around here sometime, and then we just started building and building and building and building and building and building, of course, until we got a price crescendo happening in April of 2021. On-chain activity peaked for the most part around January 2021. So that could be a situation we're looking at right now with steady growing on-chain activity, which will obviously end up getting to new all-time highs if we do get new all-time high prices for Bitcoin following along. So this is just showing that we're seeing the on-chain movements to back up the fundamentals that we're seeing potentially with the Bitcoin ETF, and of course the technicals that we're seeing with this potential breakout beyond $60,000. Just a quick funny one for you. We're not going to spend much time on this. Quick funny one. Inflation. Inflation's hilarious. Said nobody ever. Now look, what is funny is that here we go. Wall Street Journal. Inflation likely stayed high in September. Well, newsflash, Wall Street Journal, everybody knew this. Inflation's not going anywhere except up. But remember back in the day when they said, oh, inflation, it's only transitory, it's only temporary, it's only a little bit of quantitative easing, oh, it's only a few % price increases, oh, it's only, taking the dollar off the gold standard, oh, it's only this, only that. And before you know it, you're pushing around wheelbarrows of cash to buy a loaf of bread. The power of inflation. The power of inflation. Making you broke since the 1930s. Inflation, man. These guys. Anyway, let's get into serious news. Serious news now, Lark. Serious face. Serious. Okay, so the U.S. has dominated the global Bitcoin hash rate distribution after the China crackdown. This just blows my mind. Michael Saylor, famous Bitcoin bull, shared this fantastic infographic here, which just lays out the situation for you. You can just see how quickly and how dramatically the situation has changed. This is a massive geopolitical moment for Bitcoin. Let's just go ahead and start playing this here. You can watch it play out in the background here while I'm talking, but just look at how quickly China lost all that hash rate power. So they went from being the kings of Bitcoin mining. The US, of course, starting to come up in 2020 with all those big mines announced in Texas. And then as 2021 starts to go along, look at this, boom, done, over. Where'd China go? To almost zero. Almost all the Bitcoin miners have moved out of China now. We have the USA currently with 35% of the total hash rate. That's incredible. That is absolutely freaking incredible. No longer are we going to have to deal with the whole, Bitcoin's China coin narrative that some people were trying to push to disparage Bitcoin. And yes, of course, now the conversation will flip around to, but Bitcoin's using up all this energy in Texas that should be used somewhere else. Sure. Bitcoin uses a lot of energy. That's news to nobody. We all know Bitcoin uses truckloads of energy. Depends on what kind of energy it uses. Now, in Texas, where most of the U.S. mega mines have been going, it's powered by solar and primarily powered by wind. It's pretty interesting, actually, that a lot of the U.S. hash rate is renewables. It's renewables. So that's really good to see. Kazakhstan has now become the second biggest Bitcoin mining country, and they are non-renewable. It's almost completely powered by hydrocarbons. There you go, such a things. Russia, a lot of this is powered by hydroelectric dams out in Siberia and central parts of Russia. So that's helping our renewable narrative for Bitcoin. Canada as well is going to be almost strictly renewables for Bitcoin mining. I remember seeing a report that just the province of Quebec alone, just Quebec, could power the entire Bitcoin network with, its current energy requirements. Obviously, it's only around 10% of the total. A lot of that will be in Quebec, but that's again a lot of renewables there. Ireland slowly sneaking up here. That's kind of cool. Malaysia, Germany, Iran 3%, which again is almost strictly burning oil to mine Bitcoin. But the USA coming out on top, that's going to make a lot of people very happy because we were already starting to see these kind of BS narratives earlier this year, late last year, oh, Bitcoin's blood coin, right? It's because it's made in China and something, bad things happen in China, therefore Bitcoin from China is inherently bad. Well, the USA is now the biggest hash power provider for Bitcoin. Major geopolitical move there. And yeah, it's one that I like. It's actually much better distribution of hash power. Now, what I don't want to see, the USA go on and have 75% of the hash power, because it just defeats the whole purpose of trying to geographically disperse Bitcoin mining. But right now we're not doing too bad. So hopefully that continues as is. Texas governor also vowing to make Texas the #1 state for Bitcoin. Yes, they want it. Nice to see jurisdictions that actually want to get on the Bitcoin train, that want that business. This was the dumbest thing. Well, China's done a lot of dumb stuff. Let's put it in their top 10 list, maybe top 20 list of dumb things that they've done. I mean, I don't think we can compare banning Bitcoin mining to, some of the stuff that happened in China, but we'll put it in the top 20 anyway. Top 20 bad things that China did. Banning Bitcoin, we'll put that on the list. Okay, now let's talk about the Bitcoin ETF. 72% Bitcoin futures surge could signal imminent approval of the first US Bitcoin ETF. We see the institutional crowd getting very, very bullish on Bitcoin. They're piling in to CME Bitcoin futures. Now you have to understand, this is institutional money. Your average Joe is buying Bitcoin on Coinbase. They're not buying Bitcoin futures on the CME. That's institutions who are doing that. Hedge funds, private funds, whoever else, all these big financial institutional players, these guys are all flipping bullish on Bitcoin. They're expecting a Bitcoin ETF to get approved in the not so distant future. Now, here is some very important updates for you regarding a potential Bitcoin ETF approval in the next few days. Remember, we have our next deadline coming up on the 18th. That's early next week. It could happen real quick, guys. So Eric, he's a senior ETF analyst for Bloomberg. He said Valkyrie just updated their Bitcoin futures ETF prospectus, which typically only happens when the ducks are in a row and ready for launch. They added their ticker, BTF, although no fee still. Can't say this is a done deal type evidence, but it's a good sign in my opinion. This is what this guy does. This guy analyzes ETFs. This guy understands that when we see these things happening, it is the final steps before we get an ETF approval actually happening. Now, the Valkyrie ETF, you can see here, this is their odds of getting approved and the type of ETF. So they still think it's a 2-to-1 chance that on October 18th, the ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF could be the first Bitcoin ETF to be approved in the United States. These are all futures ETFs. Again, we've talked about how they are an inferior product to spot Bitcoin ETFs, but that's what is likely going to be the case. The Valkyrie Bitcoin Strategy ETF, 4-to-1 chance of getting first approved. Deadline for this is October 25th. So that's the one we were just talking about. That's the one that is doing those inner rumblings of that looks like they're about to get approved. Companies only do these particular steps when they're about to have their product approved. It's not a done deal, but it's a very interesting little bit of information here for us. Now, one thing that's very interesting about the Valkyrie Bitcoin Strategy ETF, it's futures only. You see a lot of these Bitcoin Strategy ETFs, they're CME Bitcoin futures, but then they also talk about, well, maybe we're going to go to Canada and play with some of their Bitcoin ETF products as well. And the SEC doesn't like that. They only want CME futures-backed Bitcoin ETFs. Now, the ProShares one seems to meet all of the requirements. They may have some trepidations. The SEC, of course, may have some trepidations about them not being 100% CME futures Bitcoin strategy. So we'll see. The guys at Bloomberg are still giving them a 2-to-1 chance of being the first one to be approved in 4 days' time. which would be dramatically crazy. It's just so soon. It would be so soon. The Valkyrie one coming a week later. We could also see the Invesco Bitcoin Strategy ETF on October 19th getting through here. VanEck and Galaxy also having some ones coming up soon. I reckon that what we're going to see is once we see the first one approved, we're probably going to see a quick succession of 3, 4, 5 of these being approved. Because look, these guys, we have 6 of them, 6 of them that will be approved potentially within a 2-week time period. Do you understand how bullish that'll be for the market? That'll be insane. That'll be totally freaking crazy. Of course, we have Bitwise, BlockFi, and ARK. ARK has put in a new Bitcoin strategy ETF application as well. So that's deadline for December 27th. Man, if we get like 4, 5, 6, if all 6 of these get approved by November 3rd, no one's bullish enough. It's going to be crazy. It'll be totally crazy. The market will go insane. Just one of these getting approved, the market will go insane. All of them getting approved, half of them getting approved. Holy cow. Holy cow. It would be nuts, guys. It would be absolutely freaking nuts. And remember, what we are going to see once these get approved, they don't start trading the very next day. They'll get approved, and then they'll get a launch date. The launch date could be a month or 2 months away. So what we're going to see right now, people are buying the rumor. Now, you might expect, well, once the approval happens, they're going to sell the news. Well, probably not, because the launch is going to be the sell the news event. Now, there might be a pump and a move back in terms of a breakout, coming back down. That might be what some people are going to call, well, they sold the news. I don't think that'll be the case. I think right now, if we get these strategy ETFs approved, it'll start off a massive, massive, crazy rally for Bitcoin. We'll see it go up 100K. We get 100K again in a very, very short amount of time. It's really not that far away. Once you start having all this excitement building, all this money coming into the Bitcoin market, things can move real hard, real fast. And if we are going to see a sell the news event, it'll be actually on the launch date of the ETFs. That's exactly what happened when the CME futures launched back in 2017. We saw a massive rally spark just after the approval of that product. December 18th marked the all-time high price for Bitcoin of the previous rally at $20,000, and it also was the high watermark the day afterwards. Basically, the bear market started. Well, altcoins rallied for another 2 weeks, but for Bitcoin, that was it. It started going downhill. We could see a similar thing with the launch date for these Bitcoin futures ETFs. Now, this is really one final important point here. We probably will see a strong sell the news on the launch of these Bitcoin futures ETFs because these are fundamentally inferior, junky products. Yes, they will spark a market rally, in my opinion. No, it will not be a sustained rally once we have these products actually launching because every single dollar put into these Bitcoin strategy ETFs, into these CME Bitcoin futures, it's garbage money. It's garbage money because these are garbage Bitcoin contracts. They're just paper garbage. That's it. That's it. If we were getting a bunch of spot Bitcoin ETFs approved, I would say, yeah, okay, on the launch of those, there's probably going to be a bit of a sell the news effect, but it's not going to be like dramatically bad. But anyway, the launch of a spot Bitcoin ETF would be fundamentally different to these futures ETFs. It would actually be a bullish thing. It would bring a lot of Bitcoin, bring it into the equity markets. The futures are not doing that. Anyway, your question for today. Do you think that we are going to see a Bitcoin ETF approved in 4 days' time? Or no, it's just not happening. It's all just a bit of whatever, and we're not going to see any Bitcoin ETFs approved for a very long time. Let me know down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and peace out till next time.